Thank you very much for being here and for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and happy Friday afternoon, and welcome to the Follett meeting on enhanced remote learning with Follett and Destiny. You might know that Follett is one of the longest sustaining members of this organization, so we're very proud to be here today. And again, thank you for coming.
And thank you for your continued support.
Oh, I missed that. Somebody might have said something.
Thank you for your continued support of CSLA. We really do appreciate that and your sustaining membership.
Thank you. So I'm Shelley Castro, and hopefully I know some of you that are here today. I am the local content representative for the greater Sacramento area and Northern Nevada. And I'm going to be talking to you a little today about how Follett can support not just your remote learning, also your in-person learning. But in particular, I'll focus a little bit more on ebooks and digital. And then I'll introduce you to my colleagues and let you know what they'll be covering during our session as well. First up is going to be Dave Cella. He is also hi Dave, a local consultant out of Southern California, and he covers the Clark County area of Nevada. And then Lori Corrigan is here with book fairs. And Lori will be talking to you about Follett e-fairs, and then something that I'm actually very excited about because I have 3 elementary students that are doing distance learning. So I hope that they will be back in school and attending a Follett in-person fair next year. Then we have 2 members of our Destiny technical team here today. Christine Paul is the Destiny sales consultant. And then Jim McDonald is our senior technical consultant. And Jim and Christy are here to cover Destiny 18.3, some of the new updates and features that you see on Destiny Library Manager. So the first thing I'm going to start with is how Follett supports in-person and remote learning. And perhaps I should also say I am going to leave some time for some questions at the end of my session. And I know we might not be able to get to anything. Please jump in the chat, or you can reserve your questions. Everyone will go over them for a couple of minutes when we're finished with our time. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. And bear with me one moment here. Okay. And if there is something, especially Follett people here, I can't see any of your lovely faces, so just unmute if you need to jump in and you'd like to add anything. But I will start with how Follett supports in-person and remote learning. And first is with Lightbox. If you haven't heard anything about Lightbox, hopefully you know that Follett offered all of our Lightbox titles during the summer for free. So you might have gotten a chance to take a look at them. If you haven't, absolutely reach out to your local representative. They really are great multimedia experience books. They incorporate audio and visual, interactive activities like quizzes and worksheets, and they really are great to support that collaboration between the library and the classroom to support the curriculum. Ebooks, which we'll get into a little bit more, but ebooks, we have a large selection, just like print materials. Follett's completely publisher agnostic when it comes to our ebooks. So if it's out there, chances are you can find it on Titlewave. And that's regardless of if it might be offered by the publisher in a one-to-one user agreement or multi-user. Whatever is out there as it's set by the publisher, you can find on Titlewave. Of course, print materials, those are not going away. A lot of our schools are even doing some remote disbursements of print materials. So if you're looking for paperback books, if you're looking for Follett bound titles, if you want something that's going to have that warranty As long as the book is in print, we stand behind those Follett bound titles. You can find all of those on Titlewave. Grab and go bundles. Grab and go bundles they might be specifically curated for your site or for your district. And these are bundles of materials that might be sent home with students. So if you're thinking about summer coming up and an exaggerated summer slide because of COVID, this might be something you want to take advantage of for your students. Mobile libraries, that's also something that's really come out of COVID that I'd love to see stick around for the summers. I've heard of districts that have repurposed some of their school buses into mobile libraries. And obviously your sales consultant support. So you see, your team that is here today, but there is an entire team, both at our home office and local consultants that are here to support you. And then of course, Destiny Discover. I think that that's really become even more front and center during remote learning, but it's always been there to support your students 24/7 during the summer or over spring break so that they really have a great spot to go for their virtual library. This has probably been the #1 question that I've gotten most recently is ebooks. A lot of us that have hesitated with ebooks prior to COVID feel like it's really time to jump right in. And this is something I think will certainly stick around for next year. And so let's talk a little bit about the ebook features. And I'm going to go out to my browser now. Please let me know if anyone can't see this. But Follett ebooks are, especially if you are using Destiny Library Manager, they are just really seamless. They're designed to integrate with Destiny. So when you purchase a Follett ebook, it really is touchless. You're going to get the record automatically downloaded. As soon as you order the books, we're within 24 to 72 hours, they're going to automatically appear on Destiny Discover to be checked out. And they have a lot of great features that you don't necessarily get with a print book. You can see some of them here. In the top right-hand corner, you see you can check the book out or return it. And you can also listen to the book. So it's an automated voice. It's not an audio book where you have an actor reading or an actress reading the book, but that you can choose if you want a male or female reading it. And you can change those audio options. You can also change display options. So the text can be made larger or smaller. It can be changed to a dyslexic font. Students can put bookmarks in. One of my favorite aspects of the book is the ability to make notes and highlights, especially for older students. If they're using it perhaps in the classroom and they want to make some notes on the book, these can be exported to Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive and saved. You have the ability to perform a search in the book. And then of course there is the help button there. And on the right and the left sides, you can digitally turn your pages. And just going back here to the first checkout and return, of course, with ebooks, there are no more overdue books. There's no more damaged books. You have the ability in Destiny to set your return parameters. So perhaps for elementary school kids, you want to give them 5 days, but for your high school students, you might want to give them a little bit longer. Those titles are automatically returned back to your library. And I'm going to jump over to our Destiny Discover site and show you how this would work in real life. This is just the landing homepage. I'm going to scroll down to our ebook carousel, and a student or a teacher or parent can browse through what you have in your collection, or they can click on See All to filter through these ebooks. And on the left-hand side, they can choose which books they're looking for. So I'm going to look for something that I might be interested in. I certainly have the interest of young adult readers. So I'm going to search for a book in this category. These are some of my favorite titles. And so the student can see, because these are Follett ebooks, you're not going to be directed out to another website. They can see immediately if the books are checked in or checked out. And so let's just take a look. We can check out Bridge to Terabitha. And automatically you'll see that the book has been checked out and when it is due. And it can be opened right within the browser. I think Jim might be talking a little bit about our app where the book can also be read offline, but I mostly read my books online. And in 1 second here, you can see the title of the book and obviously tab through. On the right, up in the right-hand corner here, you can see those features where I could click to change the background or the size of my font, or I can highlight and make a note to save and export later. All right. So I know I breezed through that pretty quickly. Dave is going to talk about how you can contact your representative to learn more. And I'm going to bounce over to the chat here and see if we have any questions, and also open it up for anyone that would like to ask a question about anything I've gone over so far. And I think you need to unmute yourself in order to do that. I believed we determined that participants can unmute themselves.
Yes, it's set that way for you.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions on that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to talk about.
There you go. I do have a quick question.
Okay.
For loan periods, you have absolute control over that. You can go to what, 2 months if you needed to?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
Welcome. Dave, you want to take it away to talk about some of the local initiatives?
Sure. Can you bring the PowerPoint back up for me?
Yes, I will. Sorry, it's not letting me share for a second here. Let's try that again. Okay, I think you can see it now.
I can, thank you. Well, folks, thanks for coming today. It's always, I wish I could see you in person like we normally do, but we'll have some fun with this. I have California topics that I want to cover today. And of course, at the top of that, we have stimulus funding, and also known as the CARES Act funding. So you might be familiar with this, you might not, but the CARES Act funding, we had the first round of it, and it expired in the end of December in 2020. And that first round, education was given $13 billion. The second round was issued in December, and that one doesn't expire until September of 22, and that was $54 billion to education. So the CARES Act funding is really helped schools bridge the gaps for distance learning. I know a lot of it is been spent on technology. My daughter was a student teacher, and I know that they had to get the additional monitors, doc cams, things like that. So there was a lot of that went for technology. As far as what Follett's doing with this in relations to this funding, is that we are conducting a deep dive. We've brought in a consultant to help us as well, so that we can best understand how we can serve you through this and understand the parameters of this funding. You know, we want you to also know that we're here for you as a resource. We're here to help you advocate for this funding. And we'll cover some specific examples of where this funding has been spent for library and ebooks and things like that, a lot of that around the state. Also, we're seeing many of our districts seeking this funding to replace books that have been checked out and not returned. So replacing those lost books. Some other examples, we have examples in California from north to south where this has been used and spent for diversity. We've had it spent for library refurbishment and library renewal. We've had it spent on social emotional learning. These are all projects that we've worked on. Also, there's been several library improvement throughout the central and southern California with print books and ebooks. One thing I wanted to highlight from my area is that there's been a large amounts of money spent for library diversity and cell improvement projects or social emotional learning, and also for library improvement projects. So this has really impacted a lot of libraries in my area and throughout California, and I will continue. So we just want you to know that we're here for you and to be advocates for you and to help you with the analysis and things like that. And there's other tools that we have to help you, and that leads me to the next portion of this slide, which is diversity and social emotional learning. These funding sources are typically Title I and Title III. So if you have district initiatives for that, we do have some things in Titlewave to support you. We have diversity lists on Titlewave that can help you as far as find the latest, most popular materials for diversity that are highly reviewed. And we also have the same thing for social emotional learning. Now, another exciting thing that we have is we have a new service coming that we just finished a pilot up on for diversity and social emotional learning. And what you'll be able to do with this through Titlewave is you'll be able to see your current collection, where you might have your strengths and weaknesses with diversity and social emotional learning. Another great part of it is that you'll be able to, the lists that you're creating in Titlewave now, you'll also be able to analyze those for the content that you've put in there that may be related to diversity and social emotional learning, and specifically what category. So some great tools for you in that. Now, what we're going to ask you to do, if you want to learn more about diversity and the social emotional learning tool that we have, is to contact your Follett representative. Your consultants were here for you, and we'll show you here on the next slide how we can do that. Switch that for me.
I'm trying. There we go. All right.
Yeah. So on the next slide here, you see, here's how you can contact your consultant. If you want to shoot a picture of the screen right now, I suggest it. You can then, copy that into your browser, and it'll bring up the find your sales consultant page in Follett. And from there, all you need to do is put in a zip code, and it will show you your area's library consultant, which is what I am, your technological consultant, which was what Christy and Jim are, and then also your any people that work from inside of Follett to help you as far as like textbook support, and then also customer service, things like that. We will we'll have that information there for you. Another way you can access it is if you're a Destiny user, if you go into Destiny and click on your help page, it'll bring up the help pages. Click on the Follett community. From there, if you take the Follett community and scroll down to find my Follett team member, that will also help you. You click on that, you can put your zip code in, and it'll identify your Follett representatives. So, did anybody have any questions or that they might want to ask about the CARES Act funding or things like that, or how we can help you or support that?
Dave?
Yes.
Did you say that this diversity and SEL analysis piece is coming, or it's ready now?
it's ready now. So if you contact your consultant, they can get and, you know, discuss it with them. They can help you get that turned on.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, can I jump in back to a question? How do you check out ebooks in Destiny Discover?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So sorry, I can't see. Let's see if I can see this person's name. I can't see this person's name, but you were asking if you have ebooks available in your district. I'm not on right now, so I can't see if your district has ordered ebooks. Ebooks can be purchased by a district to be shared across many sites, or they can be purchased at your individual school level. So if your district has purchased some to share, or if you've purchased any, you should be able to just go onto your Destiny Discover and check your ribbon to see if they're there. Like I said, it's totally touchless, so they will show up if they're available for you to, for students to check them out. In some rare cases, someone may have gone in and hidden them. So if you come across, you know, you have ebooks and you don't see them on Destiny Discover, by all means, reach out to technical support and they'll show you how to unhide those. And can we post a link to the slides on the chat? Jim, maybe you can help us with that. I have a copy of those, so I'm sure we can make, oh, the slides will be posted in the recording.
Correct.
And for the analysis of diversity, you will want to contact your library representative. So that would be me if you are in the greater Sacramento, or Dave if you are in Southern California. If you're not sure who your rep is, like Dave said, you can go to that link. You can also just always scroll to the bottom of Titlewave. And if you're in my area, you'll see my cell phone right there, or you'll see your local representative. Okay. Sorry, Dave. Any more questions for Dave? I think, Lori, you are up next for Follett Fairs.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Can you go ahead and cue the...
Yeah. Tell me, I don't know if my computer button is sticky, but it just does not want to change slides. So tell me. Yeah.
No worries. I can go ahead and get started.
Okay, I'm gonna unshare and reshare, so hopefully it'll show up in a second here. But go right ahead, Lori. Sorry about that.
No worries. My name is Lori. I have been involved in book fairs for over 23 years, and I can tell you that Follett's is amazing. We offer both an in-school fair, and you can kind of see it behind me here. We do offer the feature cases, which are the standalones, and then the parameter cases. Simple, easy setup. We have started offering virtual e-fairs as well. And our virtual e-fairs, one of the best things we have going is we can deliver to both the school and the home. So if your families, if you are completely virtual, then we can send them to your students' home. If you are hybrid and would like them sent to the school, we can do that as well. But Follett book fairs and e-fairs are completely designed with simplicity in mind. Shelley, can you go to the next one? Thank you, hon. We do have top content, and I truly mean that because we are a distributor, not a publisher. So we have all the books the kids are wanting to read. We do have a simple turnkey setup management. Our rewards, we have Titlewave, which is huge. With our e-fairs, Shelley has shown me that our e-fairs can be connected if you do have Destiny right to your Destiny. So your families will be able to access them with great ease. And we do have support reps, myself, and then you are given a dedicated support rep once you indeed do book fairs. So I look forward to talking to you and helping you support your school community with both a virtual e-fair and or hopefully, fingers crossed, in-school fairs for those kiddos next year. Shelley, my information is on the next screen. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My phone and my email will be on there. And again, my name is Lori, and I appreciate you guys attending today.
Lori, I'm trying to get to your
I
info.
had an e-fair before the option to have book ship. They are correct. We did change in, I want to say December, that we are now shipped to home as well. So again, my information will be available, but it's lcorrigan@follett.com. You're more than welcome to email me and I will happily get you the current information. But we did update our e-fairs to ship to home in December or to the school. You have the option of either. There we go. Go ahead and take a screenshot of my info and
there we go.
thank you guys so much. Next is Christy and Jim, and they're going to go over Destiny for you guys. Thanks again for attending.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christy Paul. I am the local outside sales rep for Destiny in the state of California and also Nevada and Utah. And I am going to just monitor the chat for right now. If you do have questions about, how to do anything within the Destiny system, you can always reach out to Follett Tech Support and Customer Service are always the best options. And you can also reach out to myself, and I can try to answer your question or put you in touch with the right person. And if you're a district or site that isn't currently using the Destiny library or resource system, I'd be happy to get you information on that as well. Jim McDonald is our senior technical consultant. He's going to walk you through what's new in the next Destiny version. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. Thank you.
Okay, Shelley or Christy, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm going to basically cover I'm going to go from 18 to 18.3, talk about some of the back office features, spend a little time in Destiny Discover and the Destiny Discover app. So starting with Destiny Discover, if you are a guest user in the system, it would time out after 30 minutes of inactivity. So we heard feedback and we've now increased that to 60 minutes before it will time out. And we also changed the message that comes up to the students. And you can see here in the example, it'll actually say, start a new search in Destiny Discover button and make it a little easier for them. We added the ability to create a custom carousel. Carousels meaning the ribbons or the content areas. You probably have an ebook one, you might have a Lightbox one, but you can also add a custom one. So in this example, somebody created a Scary Reads carousel. It's very easy to put the books onto those custom carousels. Once you create it, you search and you can basically say, add to my carousel, and it would populate that ribbon. And removing them just as easy. Once they're on the carousel, you could click on a cover of the book and you'll see the remove from carousel option. And at this time, there's only one custom carousel that you can add at your schools. We increased the ability or improved the ability to share records from Destiny into Google Classroom, Microsoft OneDrive, and the Thin Common Cartridge format. So if you want to embed a link to a book in Destiny Discover, say from Google, if you have in your account and you're logged in, clicking on the little green button with down where the red arrow is, will actually take you right into Google and allow the link. So it's kind of like a permalink to this book. Again, we're just trying to make it easier for end users to access the content that you've purchased and put into the system. Wish lists. We had this before in the older environment. It's now in Destiny Discover. Notice you need to change an access level to get this to display. And I know it's kind of small to read here, but it'll show make a wish. And then when you click on that, it would open up this box where maybe this book is always checked out. So you want to, request more copies. Or if it's another, a new book in a series, maybe you could click on the new title and place a note. And then this can be reported on by the library account. Okay. Before I jump into this, Christy, any questions coming in on the chat?
Let me see here. We have someone that said that's great. It was about your custom ribbons.
Okay.
And then the next question is not about what you're talking about, but I can either ask it now or we can do it at the end.
Go ahead if you would like.
Okay, sure. It says, is there any updated info on merging textbook manager and resource manager? Our district has been procrastinating and now wants to go ahead and do it this year. I could only find info in a doc about Destiny 13.0. And actually, Petra, if you, is my contact's in there somewhere, right? Or put your email in the message. There is, and we actually will have somebody from Follett help you do that that merge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did send the 13.0 document to the district, but I just wanted to make sure they were getting the right info. And I'm just going to keep bugging them till they do it because they won't unless.
And you're not still on 13, are you?
No, we're updated. We're updated, but they just never, they're like, oh, maybe we should do it this summer. And then they never did. And then they never did. And then they never did. And, now we're getting a new student information system in the summer. And I'm like, why don't we just do this now? Do it.
Oh, yes, you definitely should. And there's a check you can do now for it. I can contact you after, unless Jim, you want to just tell her the name of the checker.
I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, I think that's it on the chat. I wanted to spend a few slides. You might have noticed a new button in Destiny Discover when you go in, and Follett started offering these assigned user access ebooks. They're 30, 60-day loan periods. These are really intended for classroom use, and we made it so that the teachers could actually go in and purchase the books and then assign them out to the class. But seeing that you're the experts at your school, you might get some questions on these books and how it works. So I'm just going to go through this area. When you've logged into Destiny Discover, you might have noticed an item called ebook assignments. And if a teacher purchases these books, they will show up in this portion. Then the teacher can come in here and assign these to their specific students in the class. So here I am coming in, here's an old Yeller book. I'm starting to find my students and I'm checking the box and selecting patrons. And then once I create all of my assignments, I can click the Save Assignments button. And it basically will pop a message to the students when they log in. So here's a Destiny Discover interface. They'll get a little message saying, you've been assigned some ebooks. So instead of the students going in and checking these books out, they are being pre-assigned out to them. So a little different flip on how they're sent out. And then the student can come in here to the My Stuff area, click on the assigned option, and then they would show up right here for them. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. If you've noticed that ebook assignment, that's what it's intended for. Okay.
I have a question, Jim.
Oh, sure.
A quick question. It says, how do the teachers purchase these? Meaning, how is payment handled? It's from Christy. Are you talking about how do they purchase ebooks?
That's probably a question for Dave or Shelley.
Right. Yeah.
You can purchase those in Titlewave. They just uploaded those assigned ebook titles in there.
Oh.
And again, those librarians, you probably collaborate with your teachers on those to get those purchased. And then those are not circulating ebooks. Those ebooks are specifically for classroom use, and they will disappear at the end of the assigned time.
Okay, yeah, and that's actually what she said, meaning the class sets.
Yeah, so it's so you assign, once you assign them to a student, it's going to be used up after that time. So that's just want to make sure you're aware of how those work.
Yes, because all of our Titlewave purchases go through my library fund. Okay.
Okay. Next area, I'm going to talk a little bit about the back office. COVID might have an impact on some of these reports we added. We had some of the larger districts that were doing interlibrary loaning. They wanted more improvements to the reports. So at a district view, you can see the top ILL sites report, where I can start seeing activity that's, how many books they loaned and how many they declined. We included more customized limiters on those reports. So you can see here the unapproved requests and ILL requests are included on this. Again, if you're a smaller district, you might not be using these interlibrary loans, but I just wanted to make sure I covered it. We added a quarantine feature in 18.2. This is defined at the district level. So if you want to put, say, 2 days of quarantine, what happens when the book is checked in, it goes to an in quarantine status, and kind of like you're doing another checkout. So we had a lot of people coming up with some creative ways of doing this, but we did add this feature based on feedback that we heard. If you do have permission, you can override that if you need to check it out before the quarantine, but it is kind of intended to sit in that based on the defined number of days, and then you can run a report to see the things that are coming off quarantine. All right, holds improvements. You might be experiencing a higher demand of holds if you're doing like curbside pickups and you're letting the students, place the holds through Destiny Discover. So 2 of the big requests, add the sublocation field and the call number into the view request hold report. So you can see we added that right here. Hopefully makes it a little easier to find the material that you need to go and pull off your shelf. We just released support for single sign-on with Clever. So any of you that are using Clever at the district and you want to make it a little easier for your end users to get into Destiny, it is supported. Definitely will want to contact our support department to get this configured. The app. Follett has a few different apps. I'm going to talk about the Destiny Discover app. So this would be the students and teachers being able to access your catalog. We support both iOS and Android. This happens to be the iOS version here, where they can log in, see your ebooks. You can download your ebooks or audiobooks that you've purchased from Follett on the app for offline access, and so forth. And the current version, so if you're on your mobile and you've downloaded this, you should see 1.2.0 as the most recent. I don't think we had an update since I put this together. And some of the enhancements we added, support for those 30, 60, 90. So if your teachers are assigning them out to a student, they could actually use the app, connect, and download that book to their device. And we also added support for non-Follett digital materials, meaning if you have, say, a Lightbox title, you could click on it, it would open up a browser and launch you out to that environment. And we also added the ability to place holds on print materials on the app. So a lot of nice features were added into that environment. And this is just another example of a student where they logged in, went to the My Stuff, and that happened to be that assigned book like I showed you previously in the Destiny Discover, but this is via the app. Okay.
Jim, I have one question.
Sure.
It says, are ILLs affected when in quarantine?
ILLs affected. Meaning when you check it in, does it still go into quarantine? I guess I would need to.
That was from Christy Cox. Christy, you can unmute yourself if you want to.
Or if you would like, we can contact you, directly, and we can talk about that flow. I would have to want to test that to make sure. I think it would still throw it into in quarantine at the time of check-in, but I would
Can you
want to
hear me?
test.
Sorry, my
Hello?
microphone's.
Christy?
We can't hear you. Christy Cox, we can't hear you. We have 10 minutes, Jim. I don't know how
Okay,
much more you want.
if you could let
Yep.
Christy Paul know, and we could just reach out to you directly too. Christy Cox.
Yep.
Okay, that was interesting. All right. A couple of features that we're looking at adding in the app is this whole pre-filtering and post-filtering. If you're, remember in Destiny Discover, like if you do a search on dogs, then you can use the filtering on the left-hand side. That's what these are talking about here. And so I don't have a date on this, but I know these were some of the top priority features being added. Just some links here. Again, if we're sharing the slides, you'll be able to click on these. And before I just go to questions, I just want to jump over here to Destiny. Always remember, if you want a review of these features, you can come right to the help. Here's the what's new area. And if you click on this, it'll take you right to the documentation on any of the new features that we've added in the product. So if I want to go to Library Manager, here's basically the topics I just covered, and it would actually give you more detail on that. So that's where you can get to the Destiny help. And if you want to go to the Destiny Discover help, notice right down here, I can click on Destiny Discover. And now this is specific to Destiny Discover. And I can click on the little what's new here. We release more frequently updates to the Destiny Discover. Notice here's the browser version, here's the app. So if you want to see any of the features that we've added to Destiny Discover, you can just click on here and view through that. And it's nice because they're kind of tied into help, so they can give you directions and assistance, taking advantage of some of these features. And I guess as long as we're in here, I can also show you this contact us. Remember, this is always here too if you need it at your fingertips. Okay, any other questions?
Nothing in the chat right now. Does anybody have another question? Or anybody? Doesn't look like it right now.
I'm looking here too. I don't see anything new coming in. If not, that's all I have. And thanks everyone for joining. Any questions on the previous areas that we talked about, either from Shelley or Dave or Lori?
It's Friday afternoon. Everybody's ready to be done, I think.
I think so too.
Okay, well, thank you, all of you, for your time and your expertise here. Also, thank you as a longtime supporter of CSLA. I'm a longtime user of Follett products. I go back to Surf Plus and Catalog Plus days. Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah. And these products have matured and grown so much over the years. It's always a good idea to revisit one of these presentations because a lot happens in a year. All you had to do was look at the number of updates that you had listed there just for 1 year. So it's good to keep fresh with this, and we appreciate your willingness to do these kind of presentations for our conferences. And for everybody else, thank you for coming. And remember that next up is the CYRM virtual banquet. And if you got one of the conference experience boxes, break out your napkin and your place setting and your placemat and be ready to dine along with us. So if there are no more questions, and I don't see any, I will stop the recording and close the room with, again, a thank you for Follett.
Thank you for your support, Mark, and for pulling this conference off. I know it was not an easy task for you.
Now, at least 3 times as hard as a face-to-face one.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.